Hello, everyone. Well, yeah, you were commenting on it. Sheesh. Hello, everyone. I'm Father Aaron. Welcome to the Dungeon Minister. Okay, our heroes have conquered the tower, and they have met the mysterious Mr. B, who turned out to be Bargle. Bargle the awful, Bargle the dreadful, Bargle the wicked. Bargle. They did spoil his plot. They were not taken prisoner as he had hoped, and they drove him from his own tower by turning his own fire elemental around on him. He fled, the tower vanished. They stand in the clearing wondering what to do. Just a quick check-in. We are talking about two third-level elves, Bob Johnny and Fleetwood. We are talking about a fourth-level halfling, Touchberry, and a fifth-level thief, Faux-Fire. Finding themselves in this clearing and wondering where the tower went, is it underground here or did it disappear into another dimension altogether? They don't know. To be honest, I don't know, really. I just thought it looked cool, so. So they find themselves in this clearing. It's late in the day. They decide they will simply camp here. Over to the side, in case the tower pops up again overnight, but over to the side. They are reminded of another clearing. The clearing that they found on their way back from Hrothgar's eyes, and they wonder if they have anything to do with each other. They don't. I don't think. At any rate, the night passes uneventfully. They wake up the next day and they memorize their spells. 2 magic missiles for Bob Johnny and a web, which is the usual. A sleep and a light and a web for Fleetwood, also the usual. And they strike out, heading north along the road that goes through this great forest. They determine that Honeywood is unachievable in one day, and so they set their sights on the caves where they had their first adventure. The old mead caves, where the honey mead from Honeywood, back in its day as a mead-producing town when there were giant flowers and giant bees, those caves where they had their first adventure, that's where they're heading for in this first day's travel. And so they make their way through the forest. They are still on the stretch of road that heads north, and it's around the middle of the day when they hear a crashing sound off to the right, coming through the forest. Something big, a number of somethings big are crashing through the forest toward the road. Weapons out, they prepare. The crashing grows louder and closer, and then suddenly, 20 yards ahead, onto the road burst 5 centaurs. 3 of them fully grown, mature, 2 of them younger, sort of teenagers, coltish, a little wild. They burst out onto the road and stand in the way of the adventurers. The centaurs have bows and spears and swords, and they glare at the characters. "What are you doing in our forest?" the largest and eldest of them demands. The characters look at each other and they say, "Well, we're traveling. We're traveling through the forest." "On what business? You come from the direction of the tower. Are you servants of its magic?" At this point, Touchberry starts to get, touchy. He's developing a temper. He's developing a real short temper. And so he starts to get mad because these centaurs are being rude. They are making accusations. So he starts to get all up in their business, and Fleetwood has to pull him back. Calm down. Which at the table was my eldest son turning to my middle son and saying, quiet down. They explain the situation to the centaurs and smooth things over. I can't say it becomes friendly, because friendly just doesn't happen with the centaurs, but it does become at least less hostile. The centaurs tell them, "Very well, be on your way. Be careful. The woods are full of foul things lately. Bugbears, kobolds, goblins, these are the least of your problems. Beware." The characters say that they will. They bid the centaurs a good day, and the centaurs go crashing off to the left of the road, and arcing south presumably to go and check the reports of this tower to see if they really are telling the truth. The characters proceed north. It is well into the afternoon when they begin to take the curve toward the caves. They're getting quite close now, and of course where that curve is, there's also the old road that's disused and fallen into disrepair, but the old road heading north to the keep. Fofire says she wants to check for tracks there, because if all these things are coming down into the forest, if the forest is suddenly becoming dangerous, where are they coming from? They must be coming from the north. That's where all of those creatures have been living until now. So, do we see tracks coming down? So they go a little ways up that northern road and look for tracks, and indeed, they find tracks, some of them quite old. Again, it's snowy here, so there's some of the tracks are quite old. You can tell they've kind of, the edges have melted a bit or been obscured by new snow. But there's one set of tracks that is fresh. Very fresh, large tracks. They look goblinoid, but large, bigger than an average goblin. What are these things? Just then, Bugbear! Leaping out of the forest, having succeeded a stealth roll, comes a bugbear to attack them. He wins the stealth, but loses the battle. He's quickly overmatched by these four. They are much stronger than he thought they would be, and he runs away. They decide to leave well enough alone, and they head for the caves. There's a bit of nostalgia there. Oh, remember, this is where we had this big battle. Oh, yeah, and this is the room where this happened. Which is kind of cool. They check out the place first before they bed down. They want to make sure that nothing else foul has moved in here since they left. Nothing has. It does show evidence of occupation during the attack on Honeywood, which is now some adventures ago. But there's nothing there at the moment other than some animals, and they figure, well, the animals can stay. They find a cozy spot, and they bed down. They wake up in the morning and memorize their spells. Bob Johnny memorizes 2 magic missiles and a web, as per usual. This time Fleetwood takes his normal light and sleep, but also memorizes ESP. This is one of the spells that he got from a scroll back in the tower. He decides he's going to memorize ESP today. Well, that turns out to be a good choice. So it's around noon as they approach Honeywood, and they expect to be welcomed home. They expect, not a hero's welcome necessarily, but they have been summoned. They've been asked to come home, so they expect some sort of reception. What they don't expect is closed gates. Honeywood closes its gates at night. During the day, they're wide open. Farmers are going in and out. Merchants are going in and out. Why would the place be closed? But it's closed. The gates are shut tight, and there are guards in each of the towers flanking. There's now 2 towers.
The 2 towers.
There are guards in those towers. The characters approach the gates and say, "Hail, can we come in? We live here in Honeywood. There's Fleetwood and Fofire and Bob Johnny and Touchberry. Can we enter?" "No. The gates are closed by order of the mayor. You cannot enter." But we live here." "No, we have been told to admit no one." "Why?" "Orders of the mayor. Go away." Well, the group retreat a little bit. What's going on? The mayor asked us to come back and then bars the gates against us? What's going on? They have a little confab and they decide they're going to go around Honeywood. They're going to circle the village and see if all of the gates are closed. There's a number of ways in and out of the village, so they go around. The South River Gate is indeed closed, and they circle around toward the east to see if that is open. As they go, they notice that on the wall there is a guard following them. They don't recognize the individual. They're too far away to make out who it would be, but they recognize the uniform at least, and this person is walking the wall along with them. And when they stop, he stops, and when they go, he goes. He's following them on a circuit. They come to the east gate, and they approach it and again make the same request. "May we enter? We live here in Honeywood. It is Fofire and Fleetwood and Touchberry and Bob Johnny. Please let us in." "No. Mayor's orders." Okay, this again. The characters decide to withdraw from the wall a ways again and hash this over. Fleetwood says, "Let's go back, ask again, and I'm going to cast ESP, and I'm going to focus on one of the guards." They go back to the wall. They make the same request. "No, I told you, you may not enter." Fleetwood casts ESP and hears the thoughts of the man. Even as he is saying, "No, you may not enter. No one is to be admitted." Even as he's denying them entry, his thoughts betray him. He is thinking, "This is awful. They should be let in. They're our friends. They're heroes of this town. This guard fought alongside them at the Battle of Honeywood. He knows them. He's their friend. He's had drinks with them down at the Copper Kettle. Why are they not allowed? This is awful." His thoughts betray that. But his words are right in line. "No, you cannot enter." Fleetwood shifts to the other guard. That guard is saying, "We were told not to let them in. They cannot enter. Why don't they go away for their own good?" As this is happening, another figure appears on top of the gate. A huge, burly man with a broken nose, rough-looking individual, but also in a guard's uniform. And he bellows down, "Leave! You've been told to leave, now scram!" Fleetwood shifts the ESP focus to this man, and the thoughts he reads there? "My lord said they would try this. They will not enter." The characters, however, persist. They continue to argue with this guy. Finally, he's had enough. He calls the guards from the towers, and they come down, and they all disappear behind the wall. The gate opens, and he comes out, flanked by these two guards. And they walk right up to the characters, and he gets right in their face. "Get out of here! I don't want to see you again! Beat it!" The characters step back, and they demand to see the mayor. The man says, "The mayor doesn't want to see you." ESP tells Fleetwood that he's thinking, "The mayor will do what we tell him to do." At this point, one of the guards, the one that Fleetwood sensed was sympathetic, steps forward and, thrusting out his hand, says, "Leave!" And they see in his hand he has clipped a piece of paper. That's a magician's term, clipping. It's how they do a lot of sleight of hand. Touchberry, again with the temper, has been raising a fuss, so this guard thrusts his hand into Touchberry's chest. Now, Touchberry sees this. He sees the note coming for him. And so as the hand hits him, he struggles a bit and takes the note. He's got the note. And so he says, "Fine, let's just leave." And the rest of them are like, "What? Touchberry wants to leave? Touchberry's giving up?" Okay. They draw back again. The big guy and his guards go back inside the wall. And Touchberry shows them, "Look, look, look. He handed me a note." They unfold it, and they read it. "Sunset. Mead Caves of your first adventure. DS." DS? Who's DS? Why can't anyone just sign their names? Who's D? Ah, Davith Scone, the mayor. The mayor has managed to pass them a secret message. Excellent. Okay. Sunset, the Mead Caves, where they spent last night. Let's go there now. And they return. It takes them a while to arrive. They've got an hour or two before sunset, and so they cool their heels there, waiting, wondering what this is all about. They set a watch in the outer cave, waiting for the mayor. Sunset comes. No mayor. They wait. And they wait. They're beginning to lose patience. When Fofire is on the watch, she hears someone coming up the trail. "Everyone get ready, get ready. Weapons out. Who is it?" Out from the woods emerges the mayor. The mayor and two town guards. He gives them quiet orders. They melt off into the woods, and he comes into the cave with them. Thank you, friends, for coming back. Thank you. It's so good to see you. And Fofire, I sincerely hope you are healed." Good. We're going to need you all." "What's good to see you too, but what's going on?" "Let me tell you. Shortly after you departed for Kilmarnock, a group of men arrived in Honeywood. Travelers, it seemed, but they were rough-looking men. They looked like they were men more accustomed to sleeping outside than in. They spent a great deal of time and a great deal of money at the Copper Kettle, drinking and buying drinks for other people. They became friendly with the members of the guard in particular, and they told stories of battles they'd fought in and victories they'd won. They soon became popular, especially among the rougher elements of our village, and people who thought that we weren't safe enough. And eventually they wormed their way into the guard itself. Poor Sir Trevor, he was pushed aside. An old man, once a good warrior, but an old man now, losing his touch. I tried to object, but Sir Trevor himself seemed defeated, cowed somehow. I didn't understand how. Later, I discovered. These men had forced their way into Sir Trevor's home and taken his wife. Molly, you know Molly, had taken her prisoner. Poor Sir Trevor felt helpless. He was once such a bold and mighty warrior, but he knew he was not up to this, and that anything he did would endanger Molly. And so he let them into the guard. They soon took over the guard. They expanded it to be much larger. They put their own men in charge of groups of guards. I objected strenuously. I demanded that they reinstate Sir Trevor as the head of the guard. I demanded that they reduce the number and that they leave. That is when they showed up at my door. 3 weeks ago now. They burst in on me. And they took my daughter, Eleonora. They took her and they said, "She's sweet. We'll take her so you keep being sweet to us." They hauled her off to Sir Trevor's, where I assume Molly is captive, and now Sir Trevor himself as well, held prisoner. I have not seen her since. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to trust. Some of the people in town are still loyal to me, but others have gone over entirely to this group, and I don't know who is who. I didn't know who I could speak to. There were a couple of guards who I was sure were loyal to me, and so I sent one of them down to find you in Kilmarnock. He came back saying you had long since left, but that agents of the Count would find you for him. I'm glad to see they succeeded. The characters are, well, the players are gobsmacked. It's silent around the table. Finally, my middle boy, Touchberry, says, "Let's go get 'em." That's Touchberry for you. Okay, but how? How do we get them? Mayor, how did you get out of town? The gates were sealed against us. I don't imagine they let you travel freely. Well, they do let me free in the town to maintain the appearance that things haven't changed, to maintain the appearance that I'm in charge, but clearly I am not. I'm a figurehead. How did I get out? Well, the way I got out, and the way I sent a messenger to retrieve you, is through a sallyport. You know what a sallyport is, right? It's a small hidden door within a fortification that allows the defender to send people out to carry messages or to attack by surprise, things like that. The mayor, when the wall was being built, had a sallyport secretly installed in the stretch of wall near his tower. Partly for tactical reasons, partly for cowardly reasons, let's face it, you know. At any rate, he had a sallyport installed. It leads to an area under the tower walkway that the mayor had also enclosed and made into a bit of a garden shed. Or at least that's what he told people. I want a garden shed here. We've already got the wall and we've got the walkway. I'll just close off one side of it and make a little garden shed for myself. And also, conveniently, hide the sallyport. And to hide a secret tunnel, which he also had dug there and leads into his house. Ha-ha! That's how he got out, and that's how the characters will get in. Ooh.